All Indiana Politics is your premier source for Indiana politics, focusing on issues that matter to you.
I still want us to be the best in the Midwest.
We can't afford another lockdown.
Give the citizens of this country the relief they need.
Education in the state of Indiana remains priority number one.
In-depth, nonpartisan coverage.
We don't know exactly where the economy will be in January.
People are worried with good reason.
Exclusive interviews with Indiana's political leaders.
We have the resources here in the state of Indiana to care for those who are in need.
Expert analysis on critical legislation.
We need to reform those laws.
This recovery is going to take some time.
We've got to anticipate that there'll be a budget shortfall.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of All Indiana Politics on this Sunday. This first week of the year has given us a clearer look at what the governor and Republican lawmakers hope to accomplish in this session of the General Assembly. We start with our new State House reporter, Garrett Bergquist.
Both Governor Eric Holcomb and legislative leaders unveiled their agendas during the first few days of session. And while they are members of the same party and there are a number of similarities, there also are some key differences between the governor and the General Assembly.
We want to be responsible in those tax cuts. But you know, again, we're potentially close to a $5 billion surplus, a $2 billion structural surplus. We can be thoughtful and responsible, but get money back in the hands of Hoosiers.
I want to make sure we have an accurate picture so that we can cut taxes. That is the goal. I don't want to. But I want to pay our bills, and we've got some bills out there and some new ones, I think, coming, and that's why our agenda is where it is right now. Now, we'll talk to folks, and if I can be persuaded, we're open-minded about this.
The legislature has been prioritizing this COVID-19 vaccination bill. I know you've spoken in the past that you're not necessarily a fan of it. At this point, are you a hard no on that, or is it still up in the air? Or what?
Well, we'll see where it ends up. I'll work with the Senate and the House as they put forward different bills concerning this topic. And I'll, again, just like a skipping record, I want to read every word of the bills that are put forward, amendments included. But what I have asked for to end the emergency formally is the three items that I put forward, and I remain a hard yes on those three.
But, you know, we have to take a holistic approach to this, and I think, you know, the idea that employers were going to, you know, stop the spread in their business because of vaccination, it certainly has been proven that hasn't been the case. We all, frankly, all wish it would have been.
Why then not apply the bill to all vaccinations and not just COVID? If it's about a holistic approach and personal responsibility and all that?
Well, because I think, you know, right now, Brandon, it's the discussion is around COVID. This is where you see the employers taking the action, and the discussion is myopically focused on that, and appropriately so. I'm not sure there's as much disagreement. Governor Holcomb, Senator Bray, I, and our caucus teams, we talk all the time, and we'll work through this. I mean, and I think it's good to have different perspectives, and obviously we feel passionately about ours, and we'll continue to have those conversations with our friends. But look, I mean, you guys would complain if we came in here and steamrolled all the same stuff.
We expect Governor Holcomb will elaborate further during his State of the State address. That's scheduled for 7 o'clock Tuesday night. At the State House, Garrett Bergquist, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
Let's welcome in Democratic State Representative Maureen Bauer. She is from and for South Bend and also part of a Democratic caucus. Let's jump in with the GOP agenda, the governor's agenda. You've heard it, you've digested it. What's your first reaction to it?
Well, I'm hopeful that the governor has a plan in place to combat the COVID-19 pandemic and that he is promoting the safe, effective, and free vaccine. We agree on some of the issues where we can ensure that workplaces are safe. He's focusing on firefighter safety and the issue of PFAS, which is a toxic chemical causing severe health problems and high cancer rates. I look forward to hearing the State of the State address, where we can find ways that Leader Giaquinta and the governor can work together to ensure that Indiana is safer and that we're healthier and that we have a vision for the future.
It has been interesting to see the gaps that seem to be not just between Democrats and Republicans, but between Republicans and Republicans in some score. The governor, for instance, may not necessarily agree with everything that the Republican state lawmakers have in mind for things like vaccination mandates and whatnot. Where are you with the vaccine mandate ban and the Democratic caucus's take on that?
I stand with the business community and our healthcare workers who really want to put this pandemic behind us. We have a countermeasure to the epidemic. We have a safe vaccine, and we should be getting that message out to everyone. I think that the priority legislation, which aims to discredit the vaccine, couldn't come at a worse time, where we're seeing new surges in cases, a shortage of ICU beds. Our hospital staff are burnt out, and they are pleading with leadership to lead and to get us through this pandemic. We see more children hospitalized. So I think that we are certainly focusing on the wrong issues when it should be on healthcare and safety.
Another issue in the headlines, as soon as the session started, the idea of tax cuts. Republicans seem unified in an effort to try to come up with ones that will work. Your take on those?
I'm not sure if the House and Senate agree, but I think that there's certainly a need to send some relief back to Hoosiers. We have nearly a $4 billion surplus. I think it's only right to send some of that back to working families. I've proposed some sales tax cuts in the past. I know many in both caucuses have plans to do that. So I look forward to seeing what we propose.
It has been interesting to notice at least a little bit of movement among some Republicans on the marijuana issue. A, does that surprise you? B, do you think there's enough to move anything on it this year?
Legal cannabis has always been popular within the state of Indiana. I'm surprised that's taken us so long when our surrounding states have taken this measure before us. I think we will see plans to decriminalize small amounts of marijuana in Indiana, but unfortunately, I think that those at the top might not be quite ready to carry a medical or recreational marijuana bill this session.
Representative Maureen Bauer, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, coming up, marking 1 year since the attack on the U.S. Capitol, our exclusive interview with the Indiana woman who was the first person in the country to be sentenced for the crimes from that day. Next on All Indiana Politics. Welcome back to All Indiana Politics. This week marked 1 year since the Capitol insurrection, the attack on the U.S. Capitol designed to stop certification of the 2020 presidential election results. The first person in the United States to be sentenced for crimes for that day is a woman who lives right here in Indiana. She believes she's under attack from members of both political parties, and she spoke exclusively with our Richard Essex.
January 6, 2020 is a dark day for Anna Morgan Lloyd. She regrets going into the Capitol building and providing for what she says was unintentional cover for people that were there to do harm.
My remorse was sincere. It's still sincere. If I could take back being there that day, I would gladly take it back.
Anna Morgan Lloyd agreed to an interview if we did not show her face.
I spoke to a wonderful woman.
A picture of her inside the Capitol building on January 6th helped the FBI build a case against her. Morgan Lloyd is on the right side of your screen in the gray sweatshirt. Next to her in the red hat is Donna Busy. The woman on the left is identified in court records as Linda. Morgan Lloyd told us that Linda was the reason she went to the Capitol in the first place.
Do you feel like you got kind of sucked into, not the violence, but sucked into going inside the building?
Only reason I didn't go in to prove a point. I didn't go in to make a statement to the government. I didn't go in only 100%. The only reason I went in is to get that 74-year-old woman out.
She told me she didn't go very far inside the building, maybe 20 feet, and spent about 15 minutes inside. Busy took a couple of pictures that were posted online, and then the two left. For her time inside the Capitol building, a federal judge sentenced her to 36 months probation, community service, and a $500 fine.
Yeah, what do you have to say to the people that did tear stuff up, that were in there for the violence.
They have to live with that because they know they went in there for that reason. And I'd say most of them haven't been caught because I think they might be protected. And they'll still have to live with it. And I hope they realize how much it's disrupted my life, the violence that they did. Because if they never committed that violence, there's a good chance January 6th could die away. It never will. For the rest of my life, January 6th will be a day to stick my head in the sand and not watch TV and all that.
When her employer, Cook Medical, found out that she was in the Capitol building, she was fired from her job of 13 years. As the first person sentenced for the Capitol riots, Morgan Lloyd has taken a place in history she did not want.
You want this to go away, don't you?
Yes.
Why are you talking to me?
Because I am regretful for the day, and I feel like I'm in between I'm in a very bad position. I hear that the Democrats are mad at me because they don't think I'm remorseful enough. They don't know me. Okay? And then I've got the Republicans that are mad at me because I am remorseful. I'm just a person.
Morgan Lloyd tells me she is not a member of any fringe political groups, and the FBI spent hours asking her about her political activities. She calls herself a lifelong Democrat and was all in for Hillary Clinton in 2016 until she heard Donald Trump in the Republican debates. By November, she was pulling the lever for Trump and Mike Pence. She also believes the 2020 election was stolen from them.
A very large tragedy about January 6th is no one's discussing why all these people were in Washington, D.C.
Why did you go?
I went because the election, we have probably never stopped counting votes on election night. Too many places stopped counting, and it's like there's cheating in plain sight, and they're still able to deny it.
If you had to do over again, what would you do?
That's hard because I can't stand the thought of something happening to that woman. But what's happening to me really sucks. I would have to say I would have stopped at the bottom of the stairs no matter what. And that's hard for me to say because I couldn't bear the thought of something happening to her getting knocked down or hurt.
Her lawyer has asked her to testify in front of the House committee investigating the January 6th riots. At this point, she has not agreed to do so. Morgan Lloyd says that she's been well received in her hometown, and some people have even called her a hero, and that's a label she does not like. Richard Essex, IT Mate.
All right, coming up, our political experts will join us with their take on the priorities in the State House. That's next on All Indiana Politics. Welcome back to All Indiana Politics as we welcome back Republican Allie Bartlett and Democrat Drew Anderson. Happy New Year, guys. So we're talking about the legislature this week. Allie, we'll start with you. Is this the right time to be talking about banning vaccine mandates in Indiana businesses? I mean, you look at these numbers, they're skyrocketing. Timing, as you very well know, is very important. And this doesn't seem, from the outside looking in, like the right time to be talking about this.
Yeah, I mean, timing is a difficult one, but at the same time, I mean, we've been dealing with this pandemic for almost upwards of 2 years now. So I think there's really no time like the present to address this, especially as we're seeing the numbers increase. I think we're just going to see the conversation around this matter also take additional steps. So I think it's a tough one, but we do have to face it head on.
Drew?
I mean, my heart breaks that, so many folks are getting sick. And it's just unfortunate that the folks on the other side have discredited the vaccine from the start. And this mandate, this law, House Bill 1001, further discredits vaccines. And on top of that, too, it's a bit hypocritical considering they are now adding unemployment benefits into the bill, considering last year they attacked Hoosier workers who collected unemployment. So it's just a partisan bill that is a solution in search of a problem.
Allie, I saw you shaking your head when Drew was talking about the vaccine, discrediting the vaccines. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on that. First and foremost, I think saying that this bill or anything addressing vaccine mandates is discrediting the vaccine is a dangerous narrative all on its own, because that is not what this has done. I think there has been a lot of damage done in this country in general. Through
damage from Republicans.
I think that the major issue here is that we are not discrediting a vaccine by doing this. We are trying to protect the rights of individual employees to make decisions on their own. This is not an additional mandate on employers. This is just simply a way for employees to be able to exercise what they determine as their personal decision. And it's not even that, it's just allowing for exemptions to a requirement.
Go ahead, Drew. Go ahead.
Yeah, to interject, Indiana is one of the lowest vaccinated states. We're considered one of the most dangerous states to live in during the pandemic, and it's because Republicans discredited the vaccine from the start, and they refused to ask Hoosiers to get vaccinated. Holcomb is the only person. Holcomb is the only person who has been pushing the vaccine, and you have Todd Rokita saying that he doesn't believe the numbers at all, and that's just problematic.
Absolutely false. No Hoosier leaders.
Todd Rokita literally said that. Todd Rokita literally said that.
I'm saying that your narrative about discrediting the vaccine is completely
It's not
false,
a narrative,
and
it's fact.
honestly
It's based
dangerous
off fact.
to say that, because every Republican leader in the state of Indiana has told Hoosiers that it's the right thing to do to get vaccinated, including Speaker Houston, who is the leader of the House Republican caucus that has authored House Bill 1001.
All right.
He literally said this week that
I'm going to let you guys take this conversation offline. I have other topics I want to get to. House Republicans, as you guys very well know, proposed an income tax cut as well as several cuts on business taxes. But Governor Eric Holcomb doesn't really seem completely on board. Drew, the governor, not completely against the cuts. He just thinks the timing isn't right. Where do Democrats stand on this?
I mean, Indiana's financial strength over the last year and change is because of the American Rescue Plan. And Democrats got it done. Democrats delivered and stood up when it mattered most. And unfortunately, people like Kyle Huffner, people like congressional Republicans are calling it socialism. And so at the end of the day, Democrats are never going to be opposed to the opportunity to give Hoosiers some extra cash. And that's why legislation like a tax relief bill during back to school time we believe is the way to go.
Allie?
Wow, there are some really strong allegations being made here today that I completely disagree with on every front. Indiana has a proven track record of maintaining an impressive surplus that could easily cover a $1 billion tax cut. I mean, for years in the past, show me one single year where Indiana has not had a surplus that could cover a $1 billion tax cut. Now, on the point as to whether or not it's the time to do every single one of the proposed tax cuts, I think that's up for debate. But what we need to focus on during this pandemic is what has changed about the environment throughout the country, and that includes a lot of remote work options. And
well, to your point, though, Allie, do you think the governor and Republicans are going to get on the same page here?
I do. And I also think that it's a mistake to say that the governor, the Senate, and the House are so far apart. I mean, there's two big priorities in this legislative session for all three of those Republican leaders, which is getting Hoosiers back to work, protecting individual rights, protecting the rights of employers, and attracting and retaining Hoosiers to the state, and also protecting Hoosier businesses and making sure that we continue to improve our good business environment. That includes tax cuts, that includes protections for employers, that includes ending the state of emergency in the state of Indiana. They're not that far apart. It's just a matter of how we get there.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with that. Another topic. Go ahead, Drew, real quick.
Last thing real quick. If Republicans value the business community, then they would actually oppose House Bill 1001 because the business community is against that.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with that. Something else we're keeping a close eye on, as you both very well know, possible changes to marijuana laws here in the state of Indiana. Drew, you're shaking your head in agreement. Your thoughts? Does this thing get passed?
It won't happen this session probably because Republicans, for some reason, can't read the room. 80% of Hoosiers want some form of legalization. The Indiana Democratic Party, we're going to be campaigning on this all year. We're excited for this because we know it could be an economic boom for the state. It could help us wipe away, expunge some records for folks that are wrongly arrested.
Right.
for simple possession, and we want to get this done.
I know you do. Allie, real quick, 30 seconds left. Republicans, are they moving closer to making this happen at some point?
Yeah, Republicans have been leaders on this matter for several years, as I talked about on a previous segment of mine. I think they're going to look at this in a very responsible way and do what they need to do to make sure that this matter is undertaken in the correct way. And I also think that I hope Democrats campaign on this and ignore all the other major issues that are happening.
All right, we'll see what happens.
We're going to campaign on everything. We're excited to campaign on everything, including that READY program, because it's funded by the Rescue Plan.
There you go. Clearly, it's going to be a fun 2022. Guys, thank you for joining us.
Yep.
We'll
Thank
talk
you.
soon. We'll be right back. All right, thank you for joining us on All Indiana Politics. We'll be back here next Sunday morning at 9:30. You can also find our brand new All Indiana Politics podcast. It's part of the All Indiana Podcast Network at wishtv.com. Have a great rest of your weekend.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Watch All Indiana Politics live Sunday mornings at 9:30 on Wish TV and at wishtv.com. Subscribe to this podcast and listen weekly here on the All Indiana Podcast Network. And be sure to discover even more great podcasts at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.